We heard you. You want to reach more people. That's why we got Andrew on here from Tails Chase Marketing. And the first question I want to ask you, Andrew, what is some of the most common misconceptions about marketing?
I think that number one, I don't even know if it's a misconception, but I think it's just misinformation or a lack of understanding in general is that marketing is something you can pick up in January and have running successfully by the end of January. The number of people I talk to who wait until they are going out of business to start trying marketing, and it's like, no, this is marketing takes time. We can do things to speed it up, but effective marketing is a long campaign. It's a long-term investment. It's not transactional. It's not buying a car. So I think that's really like kind of the biggest misconception or the biggest thing I have to teach people when I'm explaining marketing to them is that this is not an overnight success. This is long term.
Well, I'm not surprised by that one because that was my own expectations going into digital marketing. I was like, yes, but the thing is, you get like clicks the first couple of days. All of a sudden, you get all these clicks, but
Right.
then you start
Right.
looking at like the statistics. I'll let you
Well,
go from here.
and it's a funnel. So I can get you 100,000 clicks, but then if nobody likes your landing page, they're not going to buy your product, right? So then it's like, oh, we got the clicks. Now we got to get the landing page. Now we got to get the product offer. Now we got to get the right the link to work properly, and you're removing obstacles all the way along the way. And so you're kind of constantly just fixing the latest bottleneck. Um, and that's sort of the management aspect that when I just had somebody ask me to say, why would I spend, $1,500 for a geofencing campaign, which I help run. And they're like, once you just build the ads, it's done. I should be paying less. And I'm like, yeah, no, once I build the ads and get the thing started, that's when I actually really start working. Because now it's the constant optimization, the constant, finding, like I said, finding that bottleneck. And I just don't think that they get that you don't just set an ad and then walk away and then come back in a month and say money please. Like there's a lot more involved throughout the month. So
What
So
is? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
what creates in the prospect's mind? So somebody sees the ad or the post or whatever it is. What creates the feeling in that person that makes them want to click to go see what else is there?
I'm going to answer it like this, and it's not quite a feeling, but if you ask my therapist, I don't have those. So it would make sense that I answer this way. But I think the thing is that the more you understand your target, your audience, right? And too many people say, I can help anyone do anything. And that is a recipe for disaster. So before I build any ads or do anything like that, I'm walking you through, who do you want to talk to? Is it your mom who's 70 years old and just lost her driver's license? Is it and I mean that level of specificity, even if you're a realtor, even if you're in construction, right? I want to know the exact person you're trying to talk to. Because when I know the exact person and we know the exact issue, then the solution presents itself really easily, right?
Hmm.
So I know exactly what to say. My just as an example, my mom has been fortunate enough that she was able to stay at home and help raise us, right? Um, so I don't want to sell her the car that helps her get to and from work. She'll never click on it. She doesn't go to work, right? So it's like you got to know that level because I can still sell her a car. I could sell her the luxury. I could sell her the comfort. I could sell her the fuel efficiency. I could sell her all these things that would matter more to her. But if without that information, you're just look a car. Nobody's going to click on that ad, right? So it's really understanding who you want to sell to.
So this is why we fully agree with you. We've seen this many times. This is why the I can help everybody theory not only doesn't work, it can't work.
I agree.
It's
I
just
agree.
it's in talking to no one.
Yeah. Well, and also, and I've been explaining this more and more, and I heard this from another marketer that I talked to. He said it. He said it. I'm paraphrasing him. He was prophetic when he said it, so I apologize to everybody who's hearing me say it. But he was basically saying, he's like, look, what you need to understand is that it's about finances as well, because with $1,000, you can target a very specific micro segment and really get in on that micro segment. With $100 million, you can target a lot more people. You can say, I help everyone, because you're paying a 25 cents per person in the United States. Oh, that opens up what you want to say. But most people aren't working on a big corporation budget like that. And they're saying, I want my $2,000 ads to go to everyone. Okay, there's 336 million people in the United States. $2,000 is what, 0.0000 something cent per person. That's not going to work. So I think that's the other way that I help people think about it, so they don't think that becomes their entire portfolio, because they sit there and they think, well, I don't want to only help the stay-at-home mom. They say, I want to help the stay-at-home mom, the dad, the sister, the brother, the whatever. And it's like, right, but we're going to take one person. We're going to take your money and go after that one person. And then when your money makes money and you have more money, we can expand into a different target. But it's budgeting is really what targeting comes down to as well.
And do you also see this happening in things like national advertising, particularly in TV shows and such? Is it the same principle still happening?
A little different, because they have the money to spend, right? You can really just, they're also advertising for brand awareness.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's a different thing, isn't it?
Right. So Coke just wants you to remember that Coke exists. They don't need you to click to buy. Just remember Coke exists. You're already buying it. And I just want to make sure that you sit there and go, dang it, now I want a Coke. I've already tried it. I like it. Sure, let's go to the store and get one. Whereas when you're working at the smaller business, usually, almost everybody's a smaller business than Coke, right? So when you're working with somebody
pretty much.
right? Somebody on a smaller scale, they want a call to action, a real call to action. They want somebody to click through and purchase their product. And so I think it's a little different in just how you set up the brand and how your targeting works. Because if you're just reminding everybody your brand exists, you can really remind everybody, hey, fun fact, Coke is here. Versus like, hey, you don't know who I am, but I'm your physical therapist down the street and you should come check me out, right? It's a different ad style altogether, actually.
This is a really key distinction that you're making for our audience. Moss and I have seen this in many people, with the attitude that they don't want to spend money on marketing because they don't really understand the value.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this idea that it's like advertising, and they're not the same thing, are they? You've already gone into that some. What can a small, solopreneur do to adjust their thinking? How would they start conceptualizing what marketing means and start understanding the values, so that then it makes sense for them to go get it?
So actually, it's actually a really great question. I've had a lot of this conversation in the past 2 weeks. And part of what I see is really understanding this as an investment. And I think, people get, oh, I'm investing in a house. Why? Because when they put down their money, a giant house shows up that they can walk into. Whereas with marketing, you invest money and then nothing happens in your eyes, right? The people out there are seeing your ad, they're seeing this, but you're sitting there going, well, until the first person shows up, did anything happen? And you're sitting there like this, like, where's my goodie? Where's my trinket? I paid $300. I want my trinket. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's an investment. It's this longer scale thing, right? We think we know who your target audience is based on what you've said. We think we know what the ad needs to be based on what you said. We think all this stuff. Now we got to test it. It's a hypothesis. That's what we get in that first month. is a hypothesis. And then the further down the road we get, our hypothesis goes from hypothesis to theory, to fact, to law, right? We have to earn that opening point in your market. And I think a lot of marketers have really hurt ourselves by saying, oh, I am a marketer for physical therapists. I know exactly what physical therapists need. That's not true. Every physical therapist is different. Every location is different. Every individual, whether we like it or not, is slightly different. And I think that we make it sound easy, because if we made it sound complicated, nobody would invest. But it's not that easy. And that's what actually keeps me in it. That's what I enjoy, is that I'm constantly trying to figure out, well, 2 + 2 should be 4, but this one says 5, and I'm sure that's not right. How do I get either the right equation or the right number at the end, right? And that's what you're constantly playing with. Do I need to make it 2 + 3 or 3 + 2, or do I need to make that 5 a 4, or should I make the whole thing a 6 and we change the equation altogether? So that's where I think, like, as far as shifting the mindset, is just really understanding that it's involved. It is a bigger thing. And part of why you personally haven't been marketing when you didn't hire a marketer is because it's involved. And at least some part of the back of your mind knows how much work it takes and didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Because our brains are normally very lazy. If we can avoid doing something, we will avoid it at all costs. It's only when we see a reason to really do it, and the consequences of doing it is worse than doing it. One of the things I experienced when I first started getting into the back end of Google Ads, stuff like that, there were so many metrics, so much data. I was like, what's important? So in your eyes, what are some of the most important metrics for a new business owner to look at, both when marketing themselves, but also when going out and searching for a digital agency?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're marketing yourself, the most important metric is all of them, because you need to understand it all, because that's how you figure out what levers to pull, right? Like, that's what matters, is how do I pull this lever and get this result? What does it? So if you're doing it yourself, you need to sit down and understand them all. And there's no real way around it. I think as marketers, we've spent enough time with each of those metrics that we can glance over some of them and just say, okay, that says 32 and that seems about right, so I'm going to ignore it. But, that's our knowledge. That's because that's what we do all day long. But metrics that matter most to me in click-through rates. I really want to see a high click-through rate. I want to know that the ad is going to a landing page, and the landing page is converting into at least getting you on the website, or getting you started in the book to wherever your call to action is. That's a huge thing for me. And I've started getting more interested in sort of the lower end of the funnel, because I think anyone, period, can figure out how to grow the top end of that funnel. I don't think that's incredibly complex. We can just throw ads together until the cows come home. One of them will work, and then you just stick with it. I'm not saying that's how I would do it, but I'm saying if you're doing it on your own, sure, go ahead, knock yourself out. Although not literally. But hey, look, I have struggled with things, and I've thought about putting my head through the wall right here. And that wall, there's no insulation in there. That's a beam. I would knock myself out. So I get it. But I think really just conversions, because at the end of the day, as a small business owner or a business owner, you don't even have to be that small. You want conversions. You want customers. You don't want leads. Leads are great. Leads are what you know, but you want sales. So how do we take our marketing, and how is the marketing agency you're hire tracking to sales? And most marketers, I think, are a little afraid to get into that, conversation because there's marketing and there's sales and they're slightly different. But we as marketers also have to know, hey, your product isn't going to work. I can build anything I want, but you're selling like I said, you're selling a fuel efficiency car to someone who doesn't go anywhere. They don't care. That's not gonna work. So we have to be able to say that and either direct the client or tell the client, this is not going to work. And I've fired clients when I've been like, look, I totally get where you're going and I can't take you there. And so that's that level of integrity also on our side is how do we be true to who we are, right? And what we really can do. And I don't want your $5,000 a month if I'm going to just take $5,000 and give you back nothing. I mean, who doesn't want money? But at the same time, I have to have integrity. I have to be able to sleep at night. I have to be able to say, yeah, this is going to benefit you. And if it's not, and we can't feel that way, then we need to be able to say, this is our time to disengage. So.
And this really sets you apart from many of the marketers that we run into. And we don't put any of those kind of marketers on the show ever. But
yeah,
we do run into a lot of them. It's like, oh my goodness. I think everyone in business understands that when you invest in something, the payoff or the gain, it comes later.
Right.
But it will come.
Yeah.
And it's a hard hurdle for some business owners to get over.
Yep.
But this takes time because, as you said, they can't see what's happening.
Right. Well, and they don't want to. I think marketing is a lot like a sausage. People enjoy hot dogs. They enjoy sausages, but nobody wants to know how it's made. That is a horrible thought. And everyone I know that has watched the How a Hot Dog is Made video has gone vegetarian or vegan. So I feel like marketing is really similar. We're if I told my clients that I spent an hour today sitting there dealing with a coding issue that should have worked the first time, but for some odd reason just didn't because yay technology, and did all of this, I think they'd be bored out of their mind. And they'd, and there's always the back of the mind, well, I wonder if somebody else could code better. Well, I wonder if this could, but it's that there's a lot of different little things, and it's a lot for people to take in.
Yeah, this is similar to the reason Moss doesn't generally let me talk to the public unless he's there. Because I get so deep in the weeds of what we're doing, and most people just like...
He puts them to sleep.
Even if they pass out, when they come to, I'm still talking. So.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, I also like to talk just for myself. If other people enjoy it, good for them. But
yeah, exactly.
Really, I can't pretend like it's for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not that guy.
So on the show, it's traditional for me and Moss to make fun of. I make fun of Denmark. He makes fun of Texas. What would you say is something that Denmark needs that you could market to them?
Me. I was just saying, you know what? Denmark is missing me. And if they would like to make their citizenship available, I am here to investigate that opportunity. I feel like, you talked about those, we've talked about those Danish mushrooms, and I've heard they're delicious. And I really feel like if given the opportunity, I too could conquer the world. So that's my sales pitch to Denmark is if you're looking for your next Viking revolution, I'm offering to come and start it.
Well, I like this. This sounds like a great Kickstarter program, man.
Yeah. I'll make sure to send it over to the Prime Minister.
I think he's going to accept. I really do. Bring back the glory of Denmark. We can do it.
You guys have to do something. The Swedish economy is dominating yours, man. You got to do something.
We're just gonna stop them supplying the medicine. Then they're all dead. We have the final straw. I'm pretty sure they get most of the medicine from us anyway.
This is why our podcast audience is the best in the world. We got some pretty cool people out there listening to this.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and you guys have the benefit of people actually listen to this. This is
I know,
great.
isn't that amazing?
On Denmark, I mean, and Sweden, and why not?
Yeah, not too many Swedish people I think listen to us.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they started listening to you guys and changed their mind real quick. Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they have been thrown away, all of them at this point.
There you go. Well, Mike, if it makes you feel any better, I'm in California, so I'm sure Texas has a lot to say about California in general as well. So,
it's a lot of silliness on both sides. I used to live in San Diego as well, and it's just sort of this thing. Wherever you live, the people in that area that haven't traveled, tend to think the rest of the country should do exactly what they're doing.
Of course,
but they haven't seen anything else. They may have heard about it, but they haven't seen it in action. And you hear a lot of comments.
I think that's the human condition. You know, I think we are inherently scared of what we don't know, and it's way easier to just make it wrong. By the way, I studied psychology, so I literally studied the human condition on all this stuff, and it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, we've evolved to be able to overcome anything, right? We started as hunter-gatherers, and, you know, saber-toothed tigers were the biggest predator in the world, right? And then we fairly quickly, actually, when you consider evolution, became the biggest predator in the world. And so anything that still scares us is like, oh my God, it's horrible. And the best part is, the bigger we got, somehow, I know myself included, but most people are like, yeah, but now that I can, you know, I can have guns, I can do this, I could protect my home, I could do all these things. That spider in the corner, terrifying, burn down the house, I can't do this. So, you know, we're just naturally, I think it's like, this is new, this is different. I don't get it. But I think the difference is having good fun with your joke, right? Having good fun is like, I think too many people are serious about, you know, like, oh my God, this person's horrible because, and I think it's like, no, I love making fun of people. My friends and I say things that nobody else could say to my friends. And that's just how it works, right? Like that's my brother. He's earned the right to make a joke at my expense. I've earned the right to make a joke at his expense. But if anybody else does, then we're like, what the heck? Get away. You can't say that. So, you know, so it's the level of almost sincerity you have for someone or for something. And like, if you don't really care, it's good fun, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We found that as well. It's about, particularly someone from a different culture, different way of thinking, is just opening that conversation with, look, if I'm joking around and you don't like it, you need to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's wide open. And then you just proceed to be a wiseacre, and it usually works.
I mean, I haven't been canceled too many times yet. So I
I have.
Not too many times. I mean, I've only been canceled maybe 10 or 12 times. It just won't stick. I'm Teflon, so we're good.
I'm surprised I haven't.
I was never a Marine, but because of my kids, I was involved with the Marine Corps Reserve Unit here in Austin.
Okay.
And one year, the top sergeant there had been reading my Facebook material, and the entire unit got together and awarded me the official Snowflake Melter Award. I never said anything rude. I was simply pointing out scientific fact and backing it up, and it wasn't emotional, and yet people were trying to get me thrown off Facebook. So the Marines set up a Snowflake Melter, and I'm very proud of that.
That's something that's like, I would actually put in that blue background, official Snowflake Melter of the Marines. Like that's
actually a pretty good idea. We gotta use that. We gotta use that in our marketing somehow, because that would catch my eye. Like, what? What's that?
Every single person would be like, I'm going to need to hear this story. I'm serious. You're going to need to spend a little bit longer explaining how this happened.
Well, and the guy that was the top sergeant, this famous incident. He goes into Austin City Council meeting, and it was all about this BLM riots and crap we had downtown.
Yep.
And he said, "Listen, I got 15 retired gunnery sergeants in my unit right here in Austin. We can put this shit down today, right now, and we won't have to fire a weapon. We don't need to carry weapons out there because we know how to control a crowd."
Right.
And they were giving him a bunch of static, and it's on camera. It's a beautiful thing. He screams into the TV camera, "What are you going to do? Shave my head and send me to Okinawa?"
He's like, "Come on, you've already done it to me, please."
Like, so funny. Yeah, we had 3 weeks of those dumb riots because it's like, let the cops do their job. This is basic crowd control.
And what's interesting is we've done studies on crowd control as well. Like, there's data that says this is how you handle a crowd so it doesn't become a riot.
Yeah.
And the most interesting thing about that data is that we don't follow the advice we got from the data. Literally at all. It's like, put away the riot shields, all that. Put that stuff away, right? Because what he was talking about is you don't need guns in riot control. If you're actually good at this, you can calm the crowd. You can actually de-escalate the situation. And then we show up, or our police show up. I am not a police officer. No, I wouldn't pass basic training. So I know where I sit. But but our police show up with riot shields and masks and all this stuff. It's the exact opposite of what we know works. And that's an inflammatory marker. Yep. And we basically take these riots and make them way bigger than they need to because we want to present force when that's the wrong thing to present, because fire on fire is fire. If you see fire, you need a bucket, not another flamethrower. Like, so it is interesting because he's right, actually. I bet 15, would you say retired gunnery sergeants with no weapons could stand there and actually probably de-escalate the situation.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, there's training on it. They know people are trained. It's just not our police force.
I compared that to the riot that got started in a town 80 miles from here. They sent one Texas Ranger in there, and the crowd dispersed. Now, he had to talk to him, and there's a lot of psychology of that. I mean, it wasn't... Yeah. And he's got a solid steel spine walking into that situation by himself. But the point is, there was no violence in that town.
Yeah. Well, and he used... I mean, my guess is, I don't know the details, but if I was to look at what he did and you were going to map it on what the proper way to control it is, he's probably going 1-for-1 off the playbook. Just like I said, there's
I'm sure.
And, you just have to be the guy who's got the spine of steel, I believe is how you described it. But the guy who's got the spine of steel, who's going to say, I'll be the one to walk in against these 100,000 people, and I'll be the one to de-escalate that. Here's my weapons. Let me, it's so natural to want to protect yourself and defend yourself, to be able to just be like, nah, I'm good.
I have one question for you two. How much are you willing to pay for Vikings in America? I'm pretty sure they could do some good de-escalation. We won't send them with axes. We won't send them with the axes. We're just gonna send the Viking.
Maybe we'll just send you up against the Klingons, dude.
I'm just gonna say that's why I'm offering to come to Denmark. I'll start the whole revolution. I'll bring it back. We'll use proper modern psychology. I'll teach them all the good stuff so that they know how to really mess with people's heads. And that way they don't even need their weapons. Size won't matter anymore. You just show up and screw with a whole town and walk away. They'll all I'll teach them how to be cult leaders. They'll love it.
Yeah, you guys could start using real psychology instead of what you've been using for the last 1,000 years.
Right.
I'm actually pretty sure they were pretty good at psychological warfare. They seemed to be pretty good at. They were pretty good at scaring people off. That whole boat thing in the fog, looking like dragons, all of that. Apparently, it got them a little bit shook. But as me and Mike spoke,
except the Irish.
Yeah. But as you and me, Mike, spoke about, they're also a great solution to the pirate problem. Put a couple of those
Yeah.
big burly white motherfuckers on a boat, give them some mushrooms. They're gonna stand there doing weird stuff with their shirts off. The pirates not gonna. I would be like, next boat. This is not worth it. I'm not at this problem. I don't care.
There are no recorded incidents of pirates, and obviously this is 900 AD. We're not talking Caribbean pirates, but there is no recorded incidents of pirates attacking Viking longships ever.
Yeah,
there might be a reason for that.
Well, any record would be on the Viking side talking about the time that they slaughtered a pirate ship.
Yeah,
it's really Well, and think about our cargo ships now, right? It's a bunch of guys. Okay, we're gonna keep it all together, but I think if you line the side, I'm with you. Line the side of it with a bunch of really big, hairy white men, shirtless. Woo! Like, I bet the pirates would say, "I don't know what's happening here, but
no,
this cargo ain't worth it."
Yeah, they're like, I don't think it's worth the problem. The worst thing is, if they want any money, they have to keep those hostages alive. They're gonna have to listen to these probably drunk out of their mind and a bunch of drugs. They're gonna have to lock them in and listen to them until somebody's gonna pay them.
Yeah,
name us one decent,
and I'm pretty sure
Danish band, dude.
I'm pretty sure you guys employed that tactic in, was it Panama or something, where you just blasted the guy with music until he surrendered for like 14 days straight. Yeah. So it works.
That was a good non-violent solution. So you just be so annoying to give up.
Exactly. This is the same concept.
Except for the Vikings wouldn't be trying to be annoying. That would be the best part, is they would just be like, yeah, let's do it. And they'd be like, let's just smash each other, the chest bump. We can't use our arms. And the captors would be like, no, you can't. We're supposed to keep you on. Oh, geez, they're doing it. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
They'd be like, release a hostage as a sign of good faith. And they'd be like, do you want them all? We're happy to send them back to you. It's not good faith. It's our sanity.
Yes. It's gonna become the reverse. We're gonna end up charging the pirates.
Right.
Well, it's gonna cost you a little bit. Funny, we're in this predicament now.
The pirates are paying us to take the Vikings back. Please.
Yeah, we don't
all the cargo. Take them.
And once you make them drink that amazing Danish vodka, they'll surrender right away.
Well, I think he's done.
Well, we went a bit all over the place. I hope everybody enjoyed the few tangents. At least I had a bunch of fun. Make sure to check Andrew's links out down below if you want to get a hold of him. Yep. If maybe you're in the situation, you found this video because your marketing, let's be frank, it probably sucks a little bit, even in your own eyes. Reach out to him, see if you could work with him.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. This was a true pleasure. I love that we were just able to talk and go around and around. So appreciate it. This was great.
And I want to leave the audience with this thought. Many times I've run into people who are getting bound up in their own head and you get frustrated and stuff. When you hear people like Andrew joking around and laughing, there's a deadly serious business brain behind that. That laughter is necessary. And if you don't have that, he's probably the kind of guy you want to be working with. So as Moss said, reach out.